Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 104. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Mac Prichard, author, podcaster, the founder and the publisher of Mac's List, an online community for people looking for rewarding, creative and meaningful work. Hello Mac.
Hello Patience.
Thank you for coming. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business?
Yes, I'm in my late 50s, Patience, and I had a career in working in communications in government and politics here in the United States. So I was a spokesman for public agencies. I worked as a speechwriter for a governor. I was a communications director at City Hall here in Portland, Oregon, where I'm speaking to you from. And I used those, I loved using my writing and communication skills on behalf of issues and ideas that I cared about. And I was also, Patience, an inveterate networker. I love connecting with people. And about 17 years ago, I started a very simple list that shared job postings with people and had just a few dozen names on it. They were colleagues that I wanted to stay in touch with. And over the years, that list has grown from a few dozen names to a weekly newsletter with 25,000 opt-in subscribers. And it now is at the heart of a business, an online community that helps people find rewarding and creative jobs. And it also employs that business 5 people here in Portland.
Wow. But why do you do this for free, Ma?
Because service is an important value for me, Patience. It's something I learned in my family and the community where I work. And I've also, or where I grew up rather, I've also found it to be when you give to others without any expectation of getting something in return, it's also been good for my career. I just by helping others and not expecting to get anything back, I found so many doors open for me, Patience, and it built a business for me too.
Why do you call your business a 15-year-old overnight success? What do you mean?
It grew very slowly, and I candidly didn't understand the value that I was offering. So I also run another business, a public relations company, and it works with foundations, nonprofits, and purpose-driven brands. And I thought of Mac's List, the online job community, as a side project. And so for 9 years, I didn't charge any employers to share listings. And when it had become a part-time job, I was actually paying someone in my other company to do this work. I thought, well, I can't afford to do this anymore. I've got to start charging for this service. Employers paid right away because we were providing great value. They were getting fewer applicants, fewer candidates for jobs, but they were the right applicants. And so they saved time and money. They didn't have to go through a stack of 50, 100 resumes, just a few dozen. But when I say it was a 15-year overnight success, Patience, it took me about a decade to figure out the value of what I was offering. And since then, in the last 7 years, once I got serious about it as a business, it's grown quite a bit.
Okay. And you've been in a business for a long time, so money was not an issue. How did you know that this side project was being successful?
Well, it was what we set up a website 7 years ago, and we sent out that let us charge employers for these listings. And when we saw those first few payments come in, I thought, we're onto something here. So the first few months, we didn't make a lot of money, but it was enough to cover our direct costs. And it wasn't just the money, Patience. We also make a point of talking to the people we serve and work with. And we asked them why they wanted to do business with us, why they would pay for something they had been receiving for free. And they talked about the value of the listings and how we had created this online community that of people who were talented, well-educated, and were exactly the kind of candidates that employers wanted, and they were willing to pay for that, to have access to that community. And I think those conversations and seeing those first payments come in through PayPal in those early months, those were two very strong signals that I had something that was valuable.
How does networking lead to a job?
Well, most jobs, no matter where you live, are filled by word of mouth. And there are estimates in the United States that as many as 80% of all jobs are never posted on job boards like the one I operate at Mac's List. And instead, what is happening, patients, is employers, they want to manage risk because it's expensive if you hire someone and it doesn't work out. And it costs money, it costs time. So how do employers and hiring managers manage that risk? They do it by turning to people they trust or people that they've worked with. And so when you network, networking is about building and maintaining relationships with people in your professional field. You not only have great ties with these people, but you add new people to your network. And that's how you hear about jobs that are never posted, that are never advertised, because people will think of you when they're asked for recommendations for candidates for a job. I think you've probably had this experience, patients. I bet many of your listeners have too. We've all gotten that email that says, I'm filling this job, please send good people my way. And what you want to make sure happens when you're looking for work is that people think of you and mention your name or encourage that hiring manager to reach out to you. Networking isn't always about asking for help. It's also about being of service to others and helping other people with their job searches as well.
How can introverts network very well, successful about it?
It's a great question. And introversion there are many, many successful introverts out there who are public figures, and it's just a way that people get energy, and it's a style. If you're an introvert, you want to go to a networking event, say professional meeting, you can volunteer to work at the registration desk. That's a great way of meeting everybody who's going to be coming to the event. You can another way to do it is volunteer for a particular job. Say you enjoy taking pictures, be the photographer at an event, or maybe you don't want to be on stage at the center in the spotlight, but you've got great organizational skills. Volunteer to be the person who plans and organizes a lunch or a speaker's event, some other kind of program. Those are all great ways for you to connect with others, show them what you can do, and build relationships with others.
What about people who think that, I'm just getting already old to go on networking? Am I sure to be in this kind of networking at this time of the age? What is the right age to network?
It's I think whatever your age, and networking, I think sometimes when people hear that, I know in the States, they think about some airport hotel where you walk into a function room and there are a lot of sort of, heavy, loud people wearing plaid jackets, and they're handing out business cards like they were candy. That's not effective networking. Networking is about building relationships with others, getting to know them, listening to them, and learning from them. But it's also, again, about being of service to others and making time to help others with their professional problems, their job searches, or making recommendations or referrals when people need help identifying vendors. And you need to do this whatever stage of your career you're in, whether you're in college or university, or you're just starting your career in your 20s, or you're in your 50s or 60s, because your network is it's one of the most valuable assets you have, and you need to pay attention to it, and you need to serve your network as well. It's not just about taking, it's also about giving.
Okay, so the age doesn't matter, so we can all network now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So what is the art of informational interview? What is that all about, Mark?
The informational interview, it has different names. Some people call them networking meetings. Some people call them informational interviews. This is a structured conversation. It's a business meeting. It's not about taking people out to coffee. It's not about asking others if you can pick their brains. It's a planned conversation, a planned meeting that you're in charge of if you ask for an informational interview. When you're doing it in a job search, patients, you want to accomplish three things in an informational interview. First, you want to tell your story, introduce yourself, and share your goals. Second thing you want to accomplish is to ask specific specific questions about some of the challenges you face as a job seeker, or to get insight or intelligence about the field that you're exploring, or the companies or the field you want to work in. And the third thing you want to do in an informational interview is get recommendations about other people that you can talk to help you in your job search. And finally, you get bonus points if at the close of an interview you ask the person you're meeting with, how can I help you? What can I do to be of service to you? And I know that sounds like a lot of ground to cover, but you can do that in 20 to 30 minutes. And when you do it, patients, you get really good at presenting yourself, sharing your goals. You get great insights into who's hiring, who's not, what hiring managers are looking for, and you grow your network because you'll get the names of 2, 3, maybe even more people that you can reach out to have more conversations like this.
Now, Mark, there is a problem. I am here looking for a job. Do you think if I call one of the manager in this big hospital, they will be like, oh yeah, on Tuesday I'll be free. You can come and I see you. Do you think people will do that?
That's a great question. If you ask somebody for an informational interview, you need to be clear about what you want, and you need to also explain how much time you want and set limits. So that's why I'm not a big fan of calling people or writing them and saying, can we have coffee? Because patients, that sounds like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. It means a trip out of the building. I'm not sure what the desired outcome of the meeting is. I'm even less of a fan of requests to pick my brain. Again, I don't know what that means. And I say that respectfully. But if somebody sends me an email and says, I'm writing to you at the suggestion of Joan Smith. She thought you would be a good source of information about opportunities in the nursing field in large hospitals here in our city. I wonder if you might have 20 to 30 minutes to talk about that world. I could meet. I'm happy to come to your office, and I'm available generally on these times, on these days of the week, but I'm happy also to accommodate your schedule. I look forward to hearing from you. Most people will respond back and take that meeting. If you don't hear from them after the first attempt, wait a week and try again. And again, most people will generally say yes after a second attempt.
When can we give up?
I give up after the third attempt, and I'll tell you, I'm pretty good at doing this, and I know people who are as well. But if you just follow that formula that I laid out a moment ago, explaining who sent you, what you hope to get from the meeting, how much time you want, where you want to meet, most people, and you follow up, most people will say yes after the second attempt. After the third, I would just let it go. But again, people are generally open to taking these meetings because the most successful people often do this themselves when they're looking for work.
I think we can take one or two things from there, and then we will know that next time when we want something from you, we can't use a coffee or pick your brain. Yeah. Okay. You've been in the business for a long time. Can anyone be an entrepreneur, Mark?
I think we all have. I think entrepreneurs are people who have clear goals and good organizational skills and are comfortable taking risk. And I think that if these are skills that we can all master. It really depends on what you want. And if you're uncomfortable with the amount of risk in entrepreneurship, that's okay. The most important thing, patients, is to be clear about your goals, and both professionally and personally, because life isn't all about work. It's also about family and friends and community. And you just need to be clear about what you want and how your work can help you accomplish all of your goals.
Why does the hidden job market exist?
Again, the hidden job market are these positions that are filled by word of mouth. And again, as many as 8 out of 10 jobs may never be advertised. It goes back to the point we were talking about earlier, the risk in hiring. It's so expensive. And I imagine you've had this experience too, either as a manager or employer, or just as a colleague. You've seen somebody come into an organization, the fit for whatever reason just wasn't there, and after 3, 6, 9 months, the person is let go, and you have to start all over again, and the costs and the disruption are pretty high. So managers try to manage this risk by turning to people they know, people they've worked with in the past, or people who are recommended to them. And our challenge, patients, when we're looking for work, is to make sure that when hiring managers are having conversations about candidates, they're sending out those emails to trusted advisors, former colleagues, asking for recommendations, that we're on the minds of the people who are receiving those emails. And and that's how informational interviews can help. That's how networking at professional events can help, because both of those things give you a chance to show people who you are, what you can do, and they will think of you when they're asked for recommendations for candidates, or they'll tell you about opportunities they've heard about through word of mouth.
I know it hurts. I've mentored some of the students, and within like a month, they would just say, I'm leaving the job. Because it's like, oh, the hard work I put in, and now just after 2 months, you are leaving. So painful.
It is so painful. I just had an employee leave for graduate school after 18 months. She did a terrific job, and I'm very happy for her. But when you hire someone and you hope that they'll stay for 2, 3, 5 years, because the first year and a half, you're investing in them. And yeah.
Okay. Okay, you've been in business. Do you ever have a coach or a mentor? Do you belong to a mastermind group, or are you doing on your own things?
I have a business coach for my public relations business, and he's been very helpful. I've worked with him for 4 years now, and my challenge with that was that I did not come up through a public relations agency, Patience. So I knew I'm a good writer, a good publicist, a good communicator, but I didn't know the PR business, how to build budgets, staffing ratios, how billable hours work. So my coaches helped me with that. The other thing that has been invaluable has been attending a professional conference for owners of public relations agencies. And we're not competitors. We come from all over the country, and people are very generous about exchanging ideas and information. So whatever your field, I encourage you to get a coach and to look into those professional groups that offer conferences and workshops about how to run your business effectively.
What is the most valuable thing you have got from your coach?
He has really helped me with sales, and often we'll walk through presentations and pitches and the close for pitch and how to make the ask for the business and how to both prepare these things and how to respond to what might be unanticipated questions. He's taught me, you don't wing it. You don't walk into a meeting without preparation. And while I certainly always prepared for meetings in the past, because this coach is a veteran of many conversations and meetings like the ones I'm going to, he sees things and has had experiences that he can share with me that help me learn things much faster and make fewer mistakes, and in the end get more sales and grow the company.
Okay. Tell us more about maxlist.org.
Well, it attracts about 80,000 people a month. You'll find a job board there for positions in our region of the United States. But again, because so many jobs are never advertised, we provide education and training services for job seekers, because I talk to job seekers often, and they struggle with the nuts and bolts of how to look for work. People often didn't take advantage of career services offices in high school or college to learn these skills. Instead, many of us, and I was in this boat in my career, I was one of these people, we just learn it by trial and error. So we offer a blog, we have several books, several courses, and a weekly podcast about job hunting and career management. And we provide these services so people can get good at this skill and get their next job faster and easier, and above all, get the job they want without having to settle for something, but instead aim high and really accomplish their goals.
Okay. Where can we find you if you want to get in contact with you, or if you want to learn more about finding the job?
Well, we have a book about job hunting. It's called Land Your Dream Job Anywhere. And if you go to maxlist.org/online success, you can download the first chapter of the book for free. You can also visit iTunes or our website to download our podcast, which is called Find Your Dream Job. And we publish every week. And there's lots, and every Wednesday Wednesday, we talk to a different national career expert about job hunting, and I think your listeners will find skills there that are good not only for job seekers, but for business owners and entrepreneurs as well.
So, Clan, there will be more from Mark in a moment. If you are finding Mark's journey interesting and you are ready to hear more, come and listen to the full version of the interview at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you're on Online Success Journey already, click on part 2 of Mark's journey and you'll get more tips and more information to help you land your dream job or learn how to network and forget about the age you are, and you'll get lots and lots of tips to help you with your own business and life. And don't forget, you can access all other Online Success Journey interview podcasts on the site as well. That's a wrap, Clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Mark.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.